1048 Adages of Imam Ali about noble manners. 778 Be generous to your own self as long as it, the self, helps you to obey Allah. 779 Be busy with giving thanks to the favor instead of singing about it. So, be about actions more than words. 780 Walk with your illness as long as it allows you to do so. Now, disabled people, temporarily or permanently, kind of should know their limits. And if they want to do extra, or they want allowances, they are the ones who know when those allowances are needed. You know, people shouldn't just look at the person who gets up just for the 5 prayers and say, well, you can do that with them all. You can get up and down for all sorts of extra prayers. It's like, no, allow the person to alter their position. It's not the same as a sleeping person that needs to go, sleep before saying any more prayers. It's 781. Be in no need for whoever you want and be the same as him. 782. Be good to whoever you want and be his prince. 783. Make your work as your companion and your hope as your enemy. 784. Be just and the power shall last for you. 785. Keep your abdomen and your honor away from the prohibited. 786. Help your brother to guide him. 787. Control your wrath and your kindness shall increase. 788. Give this life away and the mercy shall be revealed upon you. 789. Always give thanks, and the favor shall last for you. 790. Be good to the one who does badness to you, and you shall own him. So, don't be brutalized. Don't suffer. Certainly, whatever hardship you have, you shouldn't, inflict it unnecessarily upon anyone in return. 791. Win over the lust, and the wisdom will be complete for you. 792. Be good, and others shall be good towards you. 793. Be generous to the ones you love, and keep your promises. 794. Do your best, and hold your bad. 795. Do good. Do against the ignorant, and you shall be safe. Okay, it's act against ignorance, and you shall be saved. Some of these as maxims run into certain issues, but of course it can be the translation because you act against the disbelieving, but perhaps those who are disbelieving as their character, to refer to other sources, well, that changes. So you're only opposing the ignorance and the evil, as we call it that. 796. Obey the wise one, and you shall gain. 797. Believe and be safe. 798. Give thanks, and you shall be given more. 799. Be sincere, and you shall gain. 800. Be a forgiver, and you shall conquer. 801. Be generous, and you shall be honored. 802. Be patient, and you shall reach. 803. Consider, and you shall be convinced. Consideration meant here is as to take the wisdom from examples and stories in life. 804. Be just, and you shall own. 805. Be true, and you shall succeed. 806. The good manners are the best of lineage, and the most honorable of ways. 807. He whose brain wins over his lust shall be successful. 808. He who accepts the advice is safe from defaming. 809, be satisfied and you shall relax. 810, be kind and you shall be respected. 811, learn the lessons and you shall stop doing evil. 812, repent and you shall be given. 813, do good and you shall enslave. Again, we need context for that, right? Let's remember that Islam does not allow wars of conquest, you could say. So no one's allowed to fight in order to enslave others in the Islamic vision. 814, obey and you shall gain. 815, ask and you shall know. 816, charity giving pushes away the adversity and the evil. 817, praying is a fort against the attacks of Satan. 818, confessing is the ally of the criminal. 819, altruism is a mark for the faithful and a character of the good ones. 820, the wise one is the one who beholds his lust by his mind. 821, the perfect one is he whose seriousness took over his pleasantry. 822, fulfilling the promise is a sign of glory. 823, generosity and shyness are the best of manners. 824, the person is by his smartness and not by his shape. 825, piety is to stop at the steps of doubt. 826, the believer is he who protects his faith by his life. 827, the generous one is he who protects his honor with his fortune. 828, obeying and doing goodness are the gainful trades. 829, nobility is to be generous and fulfill the promises. 830, charities reveal the mercy. 831, chastity weakens the desire of lust. 832, the just one has many friends and loved ones. 833, the true believer is he who, amongst all people, fears the most for himself. Fearing for himself comes in the meaning of fearing for the afterlife, and not in the way of being a coward, of course. 834, the generous one banish the shame and be generous to the neighbor. 835, to recommend the goodness is the best deed of creatures. 836, the wise one who protects his tongue. Oh, the wise one is he who protects his tongue against slander. Now, if we look at 834, we remember that it's cheaper for neighbors to help each other than to have insurances. I mean, there are moral issues with that, but 837, completing the favor is better than its beginning. 838, consulting is a relief for you and an exhaustion for others. 839, the faithful is living, rich, a believer, and pious. 840, the faithful is a helper when he is asked, and a light one when he asks. 841, the satisfied one is a survivor from the beasts of greediness. 842, avoiding the sins, that is the worshipping of the repentant ones. 843, being generous for the sake of Allah, that is the worshipping of the close ones to Allah. 844, believing is the pillar of Islam and the pillar of faith. 845, the believer has the chastity when he is rich and giving up for this life. 846, piety is the fruit of faith and a sign of believing. 847, the pious one is he whose soul got cleaned and his character got honored. 848, justice is the head of faith and the collector of the good deeds. 849, being patient for the adversity shall make the rewards abundant later on. 850. Manners and religion are the result of the good mind. 851. The generous one is he who rewards the bad attitude with the good one. 852. The favor giver is he whose favors reach most of the people. 853. Bravery is a victory in advance and a virtue that is apparent. 854. The firm one is he who takes care of his time. 855. Sincerity leads to truthfulness. 856. Patience is the first thing needed for believing. 857. Truthfulness is the strongest pillar of believing. 858. Gaining the rewards of good deeds is the best of rewards. 859. The happy one is he who makes it easy for what he lost. 860. The generous one is he who gives from what is available. 861. Starting forgiveness is a character of the generous ones. 862. The generous soul is not affected by the adversities. 863. Being satisfied for what Allah had destined shall make the great adversities small. 864. Giving thanks is taken from those of favors. 865. Giving a favor is a treasure, so check out with whom you shall keep it. 866. Being satisfied with what is enough leads to chastity. 867. Giving charity in secret, that is the best of good deeds. 868. Charity prevents the bad deaths. Well, possibly in yourself too, but certainly in others. 869. Consulting brings you to the correctness of others. 870. Being humble is the catch of nobility. 871. The faithful avoids the play and familiar with seriousness. 872. The satisfied one is a rich one, though he might be hungry and naked. 873. The believer is just to those who are, not just to himself. Well, themselves might be the better way to translate that. 874. Isolation is the best character of the smart people. Now, by a better way to translate, I mean, it comes off smoother in the translation, but what we have here is probably more literal. I'm not sure the translator's English is as the best here. And when we talk about chastity here, chastity is more than the sexual purity. But of course, sexual purity in character and choices of behavior. Isolation is the best character of small people. 875. The mention of Allah is the guidance of the minds and the sight of the souls. 876. Obeying Allah is the strongest reason. 877. Work is all nothing unless it was done with sincerity. Because regardless of how mighty the work is in this world, that's as nothing compared to the spiritual intentions and principles that could be with it. 878. Being regretful about the sins avoids doing it again. 879. Thinking of evil as being ugly, that is a reason to avoid it. 880. Thinking about goodness leads to doing it. 881. Shyness is the ornament of the girl. By girl, they probably mean female. Maybe they mean young female. I don't think we should call young men and young women girls and boys. People call you that till you're 30 or so, or it's not, or even after that. It's 882. Shyness protects against doing the ugly things. 883. The firm one is he who drops down the formality. 884. The beautiful deed foretells the high determination. 885. And 85 to 89 are not listed. So 885, to stop asking for what is in the hands of the people, that is chastity and a high determination. Okay, the wrong numbering is exactly as is in the book. 886. The wise one is he whose saying coincides with his deeds. So it's listed as 890 and 889. 891, which would be 887. The generous one is he whose giving precedes his asking. 892, which would be 888. To think good about someone is a character of the wise people. So it's 1044 adages.